Jim was invited to a meeting with a huge TV station boss, and he was very nervous, but at the same time very excited. When he arrived at the office, he couldn't believe what he was about to hear. The boss spoke. "We can supply you with the answers to win and become the champion in the next episode of the Super Quiz Show. Now please don't tell your friend about what I said, because if you do, trust me, it won't work out good for you. I practically own the networks that have all the big shows on. So if you want to go with this plan, great, but if not, then just forget about it and don't tell anyone." Jim was speechless for a few seconds, but to him it felt like minutes. Then he finally spoke. "You mean you want to give me the answers and win the show and become the champion and beat my friend and break his unbeatable streak?" Brian said. "Yes, and don't forget, for each episode you will win $100,000. So, we will be giving you that for a good few months. In no time you'll be a millionaire." Jim was stuck in a rut, being out of a job and could really do with the money, and didn't want to pass up on the opportunity, so he took the deal. When he told his friend Daniel that he was going to be his opponent on the next show, he pretended he was picked out of the lottery they had every week for different opponents. When Daniel heard about it, he laughed, but didn't think much of it, because to him it would be just another great win. Jim was thinking about it at home while he was watching TV, and he wondered how it would make a difference to him being given the answers, as he could not see his friend Daniel not be able to answer any question, even if it went on for hours. He rang the number of the TV boss and asked him, and was told that they knew questions he didn't know the answers to. Jim didn't bother ask how they knew he wouldn't know, but he found it strange. On the night of the quiz show, they were asked loads of questions. It seemed like hundreds. Finally it came to the last question, and the host, Mr. Major, asked Jim, "Okay Jim, you're on your last question. If you get this right, then you are the winner of this series, which will knock the current Super Quiz champion off, and you will become the champion. The question is a riddle. What ship has two mates and no captain, and you broke it?" Jim found it strange, because he was never given the answer to this question. It was the first time he ever heard it. He could feel the sweat pouring from him and the heat of the lights shining down on him. Suddenly he felt he was going to faint when he looked over and saw his friend Daniel hold a gun to him and say, "I'll give you the answer. Friendship. You broke our friendship by taking that deal." Suddenly Jim heard the voice of the host. "Hello Jim, excuse me, are you okay? We are waiting for your final answer, which would entitle you to be the champion. Let me repeat the question. What is used to measure something, but also a king?" Jim answered, "A ruler." The crowd started clapping and applauding. Then everyone started screaming. He wondered why, and this time he knew he was awake. He saw Daniel hold a gun to him, screaming, "You're no friend of mine," and he shot him dead. Thanks for watching The Assassin Rapper, and if you enjoy the content, then make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of new content. I asked my love to take a walk, just a little walk, down beside where the waters flow, down by the banks of the Ohio. He sang it so softly, the melody barely seemed to leave his lips. His voice was beautiful, hauntingly so. He held her hand as they lay next to the stream, and he sang for her, and only say that you'll be mine, in no other's arms intertwine. So soft his voice was, almost as though he was whispering. Well, he needn't worry that anyone else would hear him sing. The song was, after all, for her, so he didn't need to belt out the tune. He turned and looked at her. He was overcome with a rush of warmth people call love. With his free hand he gently brushed a strand of hair from her face. She had a faint smile on her face. It was almost a neutral look, and he continued to sing, down beside where the waters flow, down by the banks of the Ohio. He got up, leaving her to lie, and listened to the melodic rush of the stream, the bright hot sun gleaming down on God's good earth, the green grass beneath their picnic blanket rustling gently in the breeze. It was scenic, a simple, delicate daisy, just one. He had no need for a bunch. He walked with it gently. He had always been a gentle person. It reflected in his singing, with the way it was so quiet. If you asked anyone about him, they'd tell you he'd never hurt a fly. They say love is like a flower, you must nurture it and let it grow. She was his flower, his love, his delicate little daisy. They also say you should not pick the flower and put it in a vase for display, as it will soon wither and die. Rather let the flower be, and let it be beautiful in the wilderness. That is what he intended for her. He would never pluck her and let the world see her beauty. She was his flower, and he wanted to grow and nurture her. He arrived back at the stream. A bird far off in the distance let out a shriek. Something must have frightened it. He hadn't wandered far from the stream, and once back next to her, he lay down, daisy in hand, head on the grass, breathing in her scent deeply as he lay next to her. Just as the flower in his hand had a beautiful smell, so did she. He placed the flower in her hair, further beautifying her, a flower for his flower. He looked towards the bright sun and squinted. Such a lovely day. The stream continued to flow steadily. He gazed at her with nothing but love. Unfortunately, the love he had for her was unrequited. Well, it didn't matter. He loved her enough for the both of them. He threw the knife into the river as he got up and walked away, leaving her there in all her beauty, flower in hair, young and beautiful, pale skin due to loss of blood flow, but still beautiful. He sang the last bit of the song as he walked away. I held a knife against her breast, as into my arms she pressed. She cried, good God, don't you murder me. I'm not prepared for eternity. I wandered home 'tween 12 and 1. I cried, my God, what have I done? I've killed the only girl I love, for she would not want to be my bride, and only say that you'll be mine, and in no other's arms intertwine. Down beside where the waters flow, down by the banks of the Ohio. If he couldn't have her in life, he'll have her in debt. It was a secluded piece of the river. He could come visit her any time he'd like. He'd never have to fear losing her to anyone. She was his forever. Thanks for watching The Assassin Rapper, and if you enjoy the content, then make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of new content. I am afraid of what's lurking in the dark, yet I am afraid to put on the light. I just feel like standing here, waiting to the natural light come in when the morning comes. I can feel the evil all around me. It sends shivers up my spine. I am tired of standing, so I will sit. I feel like sleeping, but I can't sleep. I feel tired, but at the same time, I feel wired. The light switch is there, right across the room from me. I could stand up and walk over any minute and leave this god-forsaken room, open the door and just leave, and never come back. But I don't want to. I went from sitting down on the ground to lying down. I fell in between sleep and waking. I didn't want to fall asleep, as if I fell asleep, then what was in the dark could have all its own way. I could smell a horrible smell. I could feel a presence. The morning came. I was lying down as long as I could without opening my eyes, but I knew I eventually had to, and sure enough, when I did, there were 4 of my friends lying in a pool of blood. I don't know what came over me, but I killed them all. I couldn't control myself. What will I do now? How can I live with this? Then I could hear something. I got a start. I looked out the window. There was a police car. I didn't expect to be caught so soon. Then I froze as the police came in and ignored me. Then I realized they weren't ignoring me. As I could see, there were more bodies on the ground than 4. That's because the 5th one was the dead body of myself that lay there on the ground with my friends. Then it dawned on me about taking the tablets last night to overdose. They had worked. I was dead. Then something told me to look out the window, and I saw 4 of my friends staring right at me. Sam was relaxing watching TV when he got a phone call from his girlfriend Ginny. She said in an excited voice, "Hi Sam, it's me. I just finished an absolutely amazing game. Well, I'm not sure could you even call it a game. It's more of a surprise or an amazing prize or something like that. I have the choice to nominate someone close to me to experience the same thing. Trust me, you'll love it. They gave me the rules. All you need to do is go down to the bus stop across the street, and under the seat, under a stone, will be an envelope with instructions till you go to a place called the Red Room. But I know it's kinda weird at the start. You get taken in a cab and are blindfolded, so you don't know where you are going exactly. I have to admit, I was totally freaked out at that stage, but when I got to the Red Room..." Sam interrupted Jenny. "Jenny, are you high or something? What is going on? What is the Red Room?" "Okay, in the envelope you will see a questionnaire. You just fill it out and then follow the instructions to get brought to this room, which is called the Red Room. It's kind of strange though, because the room is all white. There is no red in it. But I was asked about what was my favourite food, movies, books, etc. And the room was full of everything I love, and there were loads of shopping trolleys outside the room to me carry it. Trust me, you will absolutely love it. I'll show you what I have when I get home." Sam said, "You're telling me that I can go there right now to the bus stop and fill the questionnaire?" Ginny said, "Yes, right now, because you don't know what time you're going to be collected." Sam said, "Okay babe, I'm on it right now. I'll see you after this freaking weird surprise you're talking about." A few minutes later, Sam walked to the bus stop, and sure enough there was a stone with an envelope underneath. He knew he couldn't fill out the questionnaire at the bus stop, as he needed something to lean on, and he had no pen, so he brought it back to his house and filled it out. He was asked to go to a quiet road near his house and get picked up outside a gate in an hour. He was there waiting, and a car pulled up, and a person with a face covered said, "Welcome to the Red Room, where your dreams become a reality. You don't have to pay 1 cent for loads of things you could only dream to afford to buy. There will be lots of more surprises waiting for you in the Red Room." Sam was shown into the car and blindfolded, and a half hour later his blindfold was taken off in a white room. The white room was full of everything he loved: games consoles, expensive TVs, and lots more. He then heard a voice come out of a speaker that said, "Hello, and welcome to the Red Room. Thanks very much for accepting the offer to enter the Red Room. Everything you see was chosen from the answers to your questionnaire, so we surmise you are very happy with your gifts. You now have the honor to ring a friend and nominate them to enter the Red Room. Just simply tell us their location and we will give you a meeting point to then pick up their envelope." Sam said happily, "I nominate my cousin Fred, please. He lives just around the corner from me." The voice spoke again. "Perfect. All you need to do is call your friend using your cell phone and let him know about the game, and tell him to look under the same place as you did by your bus stop." Sam was very happy to make the call, and when he hung up, he heard something from the wall. He wondered what it was. Then suddenly he heard gunshots, and he was shot to bits. His blood splattered all over the white room, and he wasn't alive to find out why the white room was called the Red Room. Thanks for watching The Assassin Rapper, and if you enjoy the content, then make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of new content.